And Jacob, that was well said. And I think the crowd can take, really a lot from that. I would beat you in a 1v1, and I'm glad that you finally do admit it. Honestly, fight me in boxes. I don't care, bro. I'll square up with you, and I'll take you down. And it's really nice.
You know how I know you're fake? You know how I know you're faking it right now? Because you never have a controller ready. I always have a controller ready because you don't have to get ready.
If you don't stop.
Ready. That's packaged in the background, bro. You don't even use a controller. You on a mouse and keyboard.
Whatever, man. Hey, look,
Gotcha.
You didn't say all this. You didn't say all this a little bit earlier, man. Now you're going to act all big and bad once we finally come back. Let's come back with the maps once again. We had a little bit of technical issue, but we're back, baby, and we're ready to fight. Reactor, Clocktower, Harbor, Regency, Ephyra. I don't know how much you guys heard. Sorry for the technical difficulty, but everything seems to be smoothed out now. Reactor, great map, I think, for both rosters. They played it pretty much exclusively throughout week 1, as well as E-Days. Clocktower, it's going to be different because obviously Rebel isn't going to have Demon there, who was typically your flex player to go for nades or go onto the flank. So we'll see if Kardia takes a role. Dent to still be the pop-off guy. Abuelos picking Harbor, big power pick for me because we know how good Rebel can be on that map. Regency, Rebel's great there, but Abuelos, they've also played it and they've had great success in Pro League. And then Ephyra Execution, another scary map for Rebel, but Abuelos, they're wanting to go pound for pound, toe for toe when it comes against this Rebel roster on some of their best maps. So I like that, Jacob. I like the map picks a lot, but I've got to say something. Who are you going with? And I want to know because you got a tough pick here, and you are the guy who likes to go against the grain sometimes. So you going Rebel, you going Abuelos.
I definitely like to go against the grain, and after seeing the picks and bans, I kind of wish I didn't hit that copy paste on a lot of what I did today. I'm just kind of looking at that map, picks and bans right now, and I'm thinking, what have you done for me lately? Reflections. And unfortunately, I'm not going to switch my picks. Even though I feel that Abuelos, after looking at the picks and bans, can take this series, I'm going to stick to my guts. I got my brother from another mother. King of Latin America will rise again. I got Rebel taking the series.
Rebel taking the series. Fair enough, Jacob. You copied my picks, so who am I going with? I'm going with Rebel. Okay? I think Rebel's a stronger team. I really do. And I think they're adjusting quite well. It was a bit of a rocky start. Kardia obviously joined in the mix. It is what it is. But I think, now that a week has passed, they've worked out the kinks, and they'll be just fine. But Abuelos is in a talented roster that could take the series too, so don't sleep on them. Chat, who are you going with, Rebel or Abuelos? Probably going to be Rebel because of the crowd favorite, and it is going to be Rebel. Means Abuelos, it's all on you to prove us wrong. But Abuelos is a roster, again, I'm going to continue to say it, is a roster that is talented, and they have shown that they can put up a tremendous fight. Their teamwork is really great. I mean, seriously, I would put them in the upper echelon of teamwork. The team fire, if it's on point, is fantastic. The only issues they run into, and one of the biggest issues, Jacob, is Chavii and Solar tend to get a bit loose, all right? They tend to push fights they shouldn't be pushing and find themselves in no man's land, and they put their team at a disadvantage man-wise when they truly go to retake a point or just overall gain control. And that's my biggest concern. So that's up to Addvers and Chaoz to reel them in.
I'm just kind of feeling it out. I think right now it's going to become the game of pressure, being able to advance onto your opponent and really just aggress in a lot of those corner hills, holding on to those spawn points that allow you to get the high ground. It's going to be important, but don't let me make it sound easy, because Reflections, you know as well as I do, these guys fight tooth and nail. They leave their blood, sweat, and tears on the battlefield every single time.
All right, blood, sweat, and tears. I like it. Breakfast of Champions. Chavii moving in, Kardia on the opposite end. Chavii's moving out. He says, hey, Kardia, I respect you, brother. I don't want to really make this push. But it's smart because you had Xploidz, you had Kardia there. Plus, it's not being made easy because Kraken and Identivez were in center. What a breakout that was, man. And what a start. Incredible action.
I crashed the game.
And Jacob crashed the game because he's always one to play.
I wasn't done. I was like, bro, let me bring it back because I got another point to make here because it was just getting too juicy too quick. And we talked about that pressure that you're able to put on your opponents. It's very, very important to control the power weapons throughout the course of this matchup, because we've seen throughout so many different control matches that a team is able to get to the hill first. They're able to hold down the position, but it's those torque bows, it's the shock grenades that is really causing the chaos, forcing players out of position, so that way an offensive team can easily try to push in. So that's why I mentioned kind of before we got into that first time, that it's very, very important to hold the spawn position that gets you the high ground. In this map, there's going to be high ground and low ground while trying to get those corner hills. So let's make sure that you get that high ground away from your opponent. So being able to abandon hills 10, 15 seconds earlier might be the name of the game here.
Might be, you know, Reactor is deceiving map. It seems as if it's very close quarters, so and the fights are, and you can like rotate, you know, really quickly. It's not like Spire. It's not as punishing as that. You know, maybe even Regency, which can be punishing as well because the map is relatively big. But Reactor is kind of like one of those maps where the hills are relatively close. The travel distance isn't that far, but it's still punishing. And I love that you brought up the high ground because it's something we as casters don't really talk about too much. But having that high ground does help you out tremendously. Power weapons obviously going to be beneficial no matter which map you're going to be playing on. But center control for me is really what Reactor is about. And Crack and Identivez were both having center control where you had Kardia and you had Xploidz on one end as well. That's something that's at least from the restart, which is going to be great for Abuelos. They've got to fight. They got to fight hard for it. They need to get Identivez and Crack away from that center control, or they're going to have a tough time in these center hills.
Yeah, and then on top of all that, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. You're talking about it's so open, but it's still so close together. You need that perfect combination of Lancer and Shotgun when you're taking out your opponent. So if you're forced to play defensive, you need to make sure your position is there because you're going to get stuns thrown at you. You're going to get flash, smoke, everything getting tossed at you. It's about how you decide to dodge them as Xploidz is going to go down first. That's going to be first blood for Abuelos y sus Nietos. Almost messed up.
Hey, it's okay, Jacob. I'm going to carry you through, and then you're going to carry me because I'm going to mess up as well, right? 50 seconds remaining on the hill. Abuelos, they do get the early points. The restart seems to benefit them. We have a 1v1 on the opposite end, and it's not going to be our key player matchup. Chaoz and Identivez, and Chaoz is reaching for Identivez' soul after he just took it away. But as we transition to the hill, it was a 3v3 battle on the right-hand side, and Rebel does manage to break through. Kardia, a big influence as to why that happened. Well done from him.
Like the way they could, like said, power weapon control. Chaoz with that shock grenade. With time dwindling down on this hill, I want to see Chaoz maybe save that as long as possible. Wait for the last moment so you can use it for that next hill because this one is already contested. In fact, Rebel is being backed up inch by inch. Chavii getting over aggressive, but that's something you alluded to start him off. This time around, though, it's going to work. Addvers is going to save the day, and they're going to continue to get aggressive.
Continue to get aggressive. That's going to be the name of the game here. And Abuelos is a roster that can get aggressive, but so can Rebel. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic between both of these rosters. Kardia, who started off strong, continues to stay strong. He's 4-0 and mowing players down in conjunction with Identivez. Crack now in a 1v2. Tough spot to be. Consistently backs up Addvers and Chavii on the chase. But Crack standing his ground and really standing his ground. My lord, brings down one, takes him out completely. Chavii out of the way, but Solar is there for the pickup. So now it's going to be a 3-man full frontal push into the Rebel defensive setup on the current hill.
Yeah, they just need to backtrack. Hold on to that high ground that we're talking about, especially since that spawn point is there. You're going to get reinforcements quicker than you think. Xploidz just continues, tries to back down, but he just overstays a little too much. The Drowns are going to trade by revives. Kardia is doing what he can, get that down onto Addvers, but the revives will continue until Identivez gets Addvers down and out. Solar's unable to escape. He's going to get chopped up as Chaoz trying to make a sneaky play, but he's going to receive the same fate. Back to the respawn you go as Chavii used that as a distraction to try to get this torque bow, which is perfect. With the 35 seconds left on the hill, that's more than enough scrap time.
Well, Rebel looks as if they have come back now in good fashion. 51-50, that's where the buck will stop. Abuelos will penetrate the hill. Solo's going to pick up the first kill, but going to stop there as Crack gets two with the nade. Solar fighting tooth and nail against Kardia and Crack, but he's not going to get very far, and Chaoz will drop. That is a solid hold for Rebel. That was pretty much all owed to the fact that they got the two-piece with the nade.
You can already see everything kind of getting spread out. Shock grenades getting tossed up. Gonna be the only real big utility kind of on the map. It's gonna be in the hands of Identivez. Crack's gonna use the last frag. Already taking out Addvers, giving them the go-ahead advantage. But right now, talk about the go-ahead advantage. There's a 1v1 on that side of the map with everybody trying to converge and make it an easy fight, especially for Abuelos. They need to get that one, and Chavii does. That cements them on the hill. But the thing to watch out for is that spawn point that I keep talking about.
Spawn point, so who's going to be able to lock it in? Well, right now it seems as if Rebel, they've got control of the outskirts, but Abuelos have control of the current hill. Which one is going to win? Will Rebel be able to get the break? Well, it's going to be a 4v4 battle, and from Rebel's position, it's not the strongest position to be able to go for the break. Abuelos can back up and use the natural coverage behind those steps and railing, but either way, Rebel, they've got to make an attempt for it. After all, it's 77 to 66, and this hill is fresh. Good snuff fire is going to drop down Chavii. Xploidz going to walk straight into the face of Addvers, take him out, and that leaves one more player to get through, and that's going to be player 7. He'll die off. Good job for Rebel to break the hill. They'll retake the point lead shortly.
I like how they knew immediately they had to get Chaoz there, not let him be a thorn in the side from all reviving players when all that action begins to happen yet again. So to make their job that much easier, but the game in itself is not that easy. Rebel only about 12 plus points and counting. Like I keep telling you, this is like Doctor Strange versus the Necromancer, evil Doctor Strange.
Evil Doctor Strange. Well, who is evil Doctor Strange, man?
The
Who would it? If
Necromancer.
you had to pick. Yeah, I know, but if you had to pick
It has to
one,
be
like
Abuelos, no?
Of course, sure, Abuelos, but what player?
Chaoz.
All right, cool. Chaos, man. That's gonna be Chaos. All right, too easy. He's Dr. Jekyll. I'll be honest with you, I didn't know what you were talking about. I've not seen that. I
See
really
Spider-Man
haven't.
Homecoming?
No.
What?
And I will not take the slander anymore because every broadcast turns into this because I'm just not savvy when it comes to, like, you know, the universes and this and that.
I'm about to PayPal you and you can get it on Amazon Prime or something. You need some help right now. Both of these teams need a little bit of help because it's still almost deadlocked between the two. Even though I'm saying they need help, that just means they're both playing defense so well. It's their offense that is not holding up to their end of the bargain.
It's their offense, man. That was absolutely the case. Rebels' offense, though, seems and really proven itself to be fantastic in multiple regards. And Abuelos, you know, they're keeping neck and neck with them, but Rebel, they clearly have that penetrating power. Crack, though, has been deadly accurate, and Kardia confidently pushes into Addvers as he dies off. Chavii's on the outskirts. He can't make that push as an individual, and Abuelos might give up this hill. So Rebel's going to take one of the biggest leads we've seen them take as of yet.
This is where an inexperienced young team like Abuelos is going to start to feel that pressure and feel like they have to do more than they absolutely should. It's only about 50, 60 plus points and counting. That's one big hill. That's one big stop. You can go ahead and have that still be a close game, especially since Rebel has yet to eclipse that 200 point mark, but they just need to know the pressure and how to deal with it. Xploidz is going to go down. Identivez being denied that opportunity to be the hero, as it looked like he was going to get the one-hitter quitter on Addvers, but Addvers too much of a damage advantage. He just has to backstep.
Ooh, Chavii, good read on the crack. He'll take him out. Secured the torque bow. Well done from him. Could see a turning point for Abuelos. They need it because the scoreline could get quite carried away in Rebel's favor if Abuelos doesn't step it up relatively soon. Chavii, great angle on a Kardia. Aims it up, gets the connection. Even though it took him a little bit, that's all right. Abuelos now in full control of the current hill. Player 7's going to be spreading himself out. That's going to be Chaoz. He doesn't want any Rebel members to be on that flank. Chavii's looking to aim up and or at least line up yet another shot. Rebel can't feel too comfortable to make a push it, especially with Chavii breathing down their necks with the torque.
Yeah, right now I would say, I was going to say, do a good job getting him to waste the torque bow. Connects with a perfect headshot on the crack. No more. Waste it. Oh my God. He hits him with the 360 burner, man. This match is already getting excited. I did not expect this when I woke up today.
I did shoot. Abuelos is an incredible roster. Rebel, they made some changes. I knew this one was going to be close, but I did this with the 360 on Chaoz and then Chavii flexing on crack. There's been some great plays, and it's only map 1.
I feel like a viewer all over again. Forget casting this match. I feel like a viewer the way the shots are hitting first. Identivez with the 360 turnaround, then Chavii with the back-to-back. And that back A is not an easy back A to hit over the cover like that.
All right, Kardia on the outskirts. He sees Addvers moving in. You have to know he's there. I know that Lancer's peeking through, and especially now that he put a couple of shots into Addvers. So not going to be an easy break from his perspective. Plus, you got Chavii. He still has a torque bow in his inventory. I don't know if he has any torques remaining, but that shock's going to be great. Solar's forced to back away. Now there could be an opening for Rebel to push in, but the Lancer fire, the team fire that I complimented from Abuelos is starting to take effect, but Rebel is getting the pickups. But you got a couple of players on their last down and out, so they've got to be careful. They're forced to retreat away. That is a solid hold from Abuelos, and again, that teamwork making the dream work. That's why I'm a fan of this roster, Jacob, because they show a lot of maturity and they show a lot of just happenstance when it comes to just their ability to hold down a defensive setup. And well, they're going to take the point lead and might break 200 shortly.
And that's exactly why I always say when it comes to Reactor, the high ground's important. They just backed up. They outlasted the shock grenade, and they held on to their Lancers to make Abuelos, or I should say Rebels' life a living hell right there, as Addvers doesn't want to give up the 30 seconds. Even though some might look at this scrap time, they're looking at it as a victory time.
Right, 200, it will finally tick through, and Abuelos on their way to victory here. Rebel, they've got to start getting hungry. This would be a big map one for them to take, and one that has always favored them as a roster. A little bit different now, obviously, with Kardia, but regardless, though, you got the core three. You think they would find a little bit more success, but it's far from being over with. I love Chavii taking middle ground, something I said that needed to happen from Abuelos' perspective. He's going to be living rent-free there. We might see player 3 Crack go for the challenge. He is going to have the nades after all. He might push up the ramp. Meanwhile, in the corner is Identivez. He can't get away, but Xploidz is there for the pickup. It's going to be a 2v2 once again.
Just like when Rebel is up about 60 points, it's still very, very close. A couple team fight victories will get you right back into the game, especially if you can kind of hold on to it as Crack, but the big elimination happens right before his very eyes. Kardia fighting from the back hill, and he go ahead and lands that down. Chavii goes down back to back. Big fights being won around the map by Rebel, and you can see them finally reuniting together, and Chaoz gets stuck between a rock and a hard place. And I think if this hill is super successful, like it's already looking like, Rebel will be back into the game, and it'll be somewhat of a tie.
Now, they're going to be back for sure. I maybe spoke too soon, as I typically do. Addvers is looking to pop off a little bit. Crack, though, in this current hill, has been such a difference maker for Rebel. He has picked up at least 3 eliminations here alone and pushed Abuelos back. So if you're looking at Rebel, as they do come back, they might be able to, you know, break Abuelos' current lead. That is due to Crack doing such a fantastic job in that CQC fight, slaying out as we expect them to do. But Abuelos, hey, they're going to make, you know, some good choices. Chaoz, he's going to find a chance to get the torque bow. My only concern from him, though, can he find anybody? This is going to be a big moment for Chaoz to find at least 1 kill on a Crack or whoever, so he can bring it into Abuelos' hand, but he's not finding anybody just yet.
You can already see trying to put some torque bows for splash damage. One across the map, one right in front of him, connects. No more splash damage as Chaoz takes out Crack, but the high ground, again, reflections. It's going to be Abuelos that has the duty to go ahead and break from the low ground as Chaoz revs up yet another torque bow. That splash damage is going to be important. Now they make him at a target,
nice.
But Xploidz, perfect timing to get the elim, but Addvers trying to throw some frags into the mix. Identiv forced back little by little. Crack is on the way, though, as they have an advantage that they need to take.
Oh, I like this from Rebel. They get their players to spawn up, obviously. That's just the way that it worked out. Xploidz and Kardia having the spawn that they did. They were able to, you know, pepper up Chaoz, take him down, or at least help Identiv get the chunk onto him. These 40 points are going to be incredibly important. This late in the game, every point matters, every hill matters. You got to fight tooth and nail for every single square inch of this map, or of the map in general. Crack back into his corner. Abuelos on the outside looking in. Once the smoke dissipates, we might see Chavii make a desperate push forward. Solar just trying to keep the hill contested as much as possible. Abuelos just trying to taper off the damage that has already been inflicted as Rebel take more than a 20-point lead. And I don't know if Abuelos can make this push, to be honest. Rebel's Lancer fire is too good.
Yeah, they use too much utility. It's going to be in the hands of Chaoz. Even if they do, and you can see everybody backing down, Chaoz gets flashed out. An immediate cross angle coming through from Crack. Absolutely played perfect by Rebel. And that was great defense. I'm just going to go ahead and see, even though I don't think we're going to go to another corner hill, but I could be wrong, so I'm trying to bounce my head around like ping pong. This corner, it is going to be another corner hill. They need to get that high ground, and this is exactly why you see this fight, or you see Crack's going to win it, and they actually solidify it on the back of Rebel. So even though Abuelos have a player in the hill, that spawn point is 2 times more important.
It might just be because Crack's been on my screen more often than not, but I mean, I'm just watching him make some big plays that are keeping Rebel in it. But, you know, hey, there's Solar from around the corner. Will take down Crack, and Abuelos takes a very important hill. Not enough points here for them to get the victory, but still going to get dangerously close. Identivez doing everything in his power to connect, and that's a big shot on the Solar. That drops Abuelos real estate in the hill with just 2 members, and Rebel feels confident now. A 4-man push forward. You got player 5, the flex player Chavii, who's going to be on the flank, but is he going to have much of an impact? Well, it seems maybe, but Rebel gets the kills on the outside, and therefore Chavii's effect might be lessened.
Yeah, I don't know how it happened. I saw Addvers pick up frags, and I see Crack just sneak him with a haymaker that he didn't see coming. Frags out of play, and that was their big hope in this hill. Now, they don't have everything going for them. Rebels trying to break out because they weren't able to hold on to the spawn point, but it's the hill time. A hill reflections that is certainly winnable for Rebel.
Absolutely, and Abuelos, they're starting to lose their forces. They can't get close. I love that Crack, Kardia, and Xploidz are pushing out. They understand where Abuelos is going to be respawning. Now, less than 10 points away is going to be Rebel from victory, and that's going to be another 2 wiped off the map. 7 and 8, Chaoz and Addvers have to sprint forward. Xploidz will poke out a little bit too far, but 300 to 243 is where map 1 will end, and Rebel will take it away.
Yeah, that was one heck of a matchup between these two teams. I tried to allude to it. They are the same exact genetic makeup of a roster, so I feel like whoever catches fire in a singular moment to start the game off, it was close. It was neck and neck until about that 80 to 100 point mark. Rebels started to pull away. Abuelos came back. Now, not only matched that 60 points, but got 60 points of their own. And then from there, it was back and forth, with Rebel barely edging them out in the end.
Yeah, I mean, I got to give it to Crack. Again, he was kind of my highlight player. Kardia played incredibly well, though. And statistically, 23,000 damage to his name, 19 kills, 7 deaths. He was playing his life. He wasn't giving it away easily. So he was consistently making big plays that were absolutely needed from Rebel's perspective. But Crack really stole the show for me personally because his ability to get big kills when Rebel needed the most to secure hills and ultimately take over hills as well. So Crack made those big plays. Kardia was laying down the damage while also picking up the bulk of the eliminations, actually the most eliminations in the entire lobby. Rebel played this map well, and Abuelos just didn't have it in them on the at least the later stages of the game. And that's kind of where Abuelos tends to fall apart, is when the games get extended out.
Yeah, and honestly, you're talking about a lot of what Crack did, and Addvers getting those frag grenades in the late game was a big opportunity for him to kind of close it out in the favor of his team. But Crack, I didn't know where, I didn't know when. I was just looking at the bottom left at the feed combined with the top right of the mini map. And it just goes to show that whether if it's on screen or off screen, he is going to be someone you have to watch out for. So even though we're talking about the new addition coming in, Kardia replacing Demon, big shoes to fill, and in a certain aspect, not major shoes by any means,
right?
But the team is it's finding themselves. It's going to be a progress. It's going to be a process, I mean, but they can definitely get it done.
I mean, Kardia, you know, I want to say, and really pump him up for a second, because, you know, there was a lot of, you know, kind of questions about how well Kardia would do, obviously, you know, added onto the roster. And I want to say, you know, it's just sad in general what ended up happening. But for Kardia, he has done really well. In week 1, he was the stat leader in multiple regards on multiple maps. And even here, map number 1, he was the overarching stat leader. He had the most kills. He had the most damage done. Even objectively, caps and break-wise, he was right there deadlocked with Crack at 12 caps, 5 breaks. You cannot say that Kardia is playing bad at all, and you can't say that Kardia isn't fitting this roster very well. Kardia is a great addition. Demon was great in his own right for his ability to, you know, pop off and get those big kills as we expected him to do. But Kardia is very consistent, and that's what I like about him. And that's why I think this Rebel roster, you know, they're working out the kinks. This is week number 2. I think this roster is going to be okay come major time and could very well be even stronger than the previous.
Yeah, honestly, now we go into map number 2. It's going to be Clocktower, to where there's going to be a lot of focus on that sniper. And one thing is, the new addition of Kardia, you kind of mix it with Crack, Identivez, and then you have Xploidz. Any one of these guys can go off with the sniper. That makes that flex play, that mad dash, that much more dangerous, because they can bait and switch. They can have anybody grab the sniper while somebody tries to go in and maybe bait him out, tries to get an elim. So for Abuelos, you need to come out with a much better fire than you did against E United on this map.
Yeah, they definitely do. E United is their own beast. You know, they're just a different animal in their own right, especially after beating KCP on E days. I think they're going to have newfound confidence today, newfound confidence pushing forward. But this is going to be a tough map, I think, for both rosters because of how good, you know, all four players are on each one. But I do think Rebel's going to have the advantage here. And the reason why, you got Identivez, who is a great flex player in his own right. He's comfortable playing up top. He's comfortable playing down low. We've seen him more often than not. I think he's probably one of the only players who can at times consistently get the torque bow and make a big impact with it. You don't see a lot of players play for torque bow because it takes you out of the fight, but he can do that. So Identivez is going to be a big factor here. I don't know if the slaying power is there tonight for the team of Abuelos. We saw some great flashy plays, but execution's all about killing your opponent. And this is a map where you go head to head for the sniper. And I think Rebel has the slaying power over Abuelos tonight in every way, shape, and form.
And then I kind of just go back to something that you did say earlier on. If you kind of look about what I spoke about, the two additions, you got the young slayers of Abuelos, then you have the experienced players of Rebel. Yeah. And you talked about how Chavii and Solars can sometimes get a little over aggressive. Their timing isn't always there with the rest of the team. And Clocktower is a map where if your timing isn't there, it's going to cost you a lot. It's going to cost you a player. It's going to cost you your life. It's going to cost you a power weapon. It's going to cost you something at the end of the day. So even though you have such great veterans and Addvers and Chaoz on your team, I think the action's going to happen too quick to really rely on them. They can get the blueprint saying, hey, this is the strat we're going to run. We're going to play aggressive here. We're going to play slow here. But it's up to them in those individual moments to make the right play. I'm not saying it can't be done, but that is definitely going to be a tall task for two young guys that have not seen the Pro League for very long.
And another thing about Abuelos, and that was a great thing you said, with how fast-paced some of these maps can be, or game modes, execution specifically, especially on Clocktower, when you just have just a massive battle for sniper at times where teams can get hugely aggressive. You're right. You know, as good as Addvers and Chaoz might be at guiding Chavii and Solar, with things happening as quick as they do, you do need Chavii and Solar to do their own thing and to be able to think critically about certain moments and really execute in certain ways that will make the team thrive. Will Chavii and Solar be able to do that? They've shown that they can. They're great players in their own respect, but they're definitely not as experienced as, you know, some of the pros in the Pro League in general. My only concern too is when it comes to execution for Abuelos, as talented as they can be, when something tends to go wrong, the roster doesn't, you know, congeal back together. They don't come back, you know, together as one cohesive unit. They kind of, you know, spread out and do their own thing. When everything's going right, they're fine. But if you send a person on the flank, like if Rebel wants to flank Abuelos at any point during Clocktower, I don't know if they're going to be ready for that because they've proven that they do struggle to adjust accordingly, aside from just a straight up 4v4 up top. But either way, we've theory crafted enough. We've set down the storyline. Let's just see how it's going to unfold.
Oh, perfectly timed with the flashes. Rebel waiting until their opponents use theirs in one spot, and then they try to go for theirs, but they didn't get the torque bow. Xploidz, he got stunned out, not able to grab it, and that's where we're going to be dead even. Solar, the last guy with utility for his team. Nothing on the side of Rebel. So as this one slows down, they're going to have to do it dry. The last flash going in. Solar just being a distraction. That flex play that we talked about. They're able to get the sniper out, but Chain Revive's being forced. Unable to get the elims just yet. So for now, this round will continue.
It will continue. A lot of bloodshed, right? A lot of downs, and that's going to be another one. Chavii has a chance. He'll take it. Well done from him. Taking Identivez down early on now puts a lot of pressure onto Xploidz, who is a stat leader on this map for this roster, and he's looking to make some moves. Rebel understands they're at a disadvantage. They've got to just push forward. But the job just got a bit more difficult because Chaoz will pick up the torque bow, and you're down to one remaining member, and that's going to be a flawless round, a flawless start for Abuelos. Hell of a job.
I like how he wasted no time. He wasted absolutely no time shooting that shot and getting out of there because he realized the only chance that Rebel had in this matchup, or in the round, I should say, is if they catch him slipping, get the sniper out of his hands, and bring it 4v3 into a 3v3. Since they let him escape, they had no choice but to try to follow up on that damage. And you guys can see what already going down. You guys are no stranger to Gears of War. We got a little bit of a technical pause in this round.
What?
B-flaw. I don't know how to say it either, but the way you say it.
B-flaw?
Yeah, B-flaw. E-F-A. Oh. I don't pronounce the rest. I'm gonna butcher it anyway, so.
Chavii's back, baby. Chavii is back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if he stays. But either way here, it's a live round, and he's inching forward for the snipe. This time around, he's gonna get dropped before he gets it. Of course, though, Solar is there for the pickup.
Quickly goes down. Get the headshot on to Crack, though. And you can see everybody on Rebel trying to get desperate to clean up those elims. When you get first blood on a map like this, it almost makes you feel like everybody that's surviving has to force to play. When you don't, and it leaves Identivez by himself, he's going to go down, and a 2-0 lead. Abuelos over Rebel.
All right, well done, Abuelos. You know, in Kardia, you know, tough break, 0 and 4. Plenty of damage done, though, and I think that's the big key takeaway. You look at the score line, look at the damage done compared to the damage done up top. Like, the damage is great for Rebel, but they're not getting the finishes, Jacob.
And that's the thing right now for Rebel. They're definitely smarter than this. They need to figure out a way to kind of attack first because they're doing a good job, Solars and Chavii, from attacking that spawn point, the flex play like we said, but it just seemingly always getting away with that sniper. Smoke in, flash out. Crack's trying to go for the elim. He's not going to get anything just yet, but he gets it down, but over aggressive, he gets taken down. Identivez gets that sniper, but Rebel, they have a 3v4 to overcome.
3v4, not looking good for Rebel, but if they can somehow take this round away, with Identivez having a sniper, anything is possible, plus you got Kardia with the nades. This is doable. This would be a big turning point for Rebel. Going down 3-0 isn't too far gone, but it's scary. You don't want to be winless, right? So Identivez, good body shot on the one across the way. I believe that was going to be on Addvers, and the only player you have separated is going to be Kardia with the nades down low, but he's going to be okay for the time being. He's not really in too much danger at the time. So we'll see how this is going to unfold, but again, Rebel, they need this round.
Yeah, Identivez right now, he's just kind of peeking out. He's taking that damage because he's waiting for somebody to over peek. You can see a lot of these players, they're just barely peeking out, but Xploidz tries to catch Solar slipping with the Lancer. He goes down. Identivez and Kardia are going to be by themselves, and Chavii with the perfect flank. He goes back to back, and that's 3-0. Abuelos taking control over this clock tower and asserting their dominance. Like I said, these are two same genetic makeup teams when it comes to their playstyle, and they're just fighting fire with fire.
Man, I gotta tell you, Abuelos, they are soaring through this map, and Chavii is making some big moves. That flank was great, it really was, and something we don't see too often from Abuelos' perspective. They're a team that likes to fight the fight up top, and that's kind of what they do. Meanwhile, Rebel, a team that I thought would be more versatile, and they have proven to be in the past, aren't doing anything but going up top and trying to fight Abuelos head on. But this time they do get the drop on the Solar early, but again, no first bloods coming out. Rebel continues to get the damage, but nobody's able to capitalize.
Nobody just yet. Back and forth, using utility to try to displace your opponent. Solar wants back-to-back rounds. It's using there, getting that sniper out, and Chaoz finds Identivez slipping yet again. And I like how everybody knows their place. They know their role. Chavii's the man to be trusted with when it comes to that sniper.
Xploidz down low. Trying to fight off Chaoz here, but Chaoz is going to get the best of them, and that's the risk you take sometimes when you push down low, because you might be in no man's land. Chavii tries to open up a door, but it's going to be shut in his face, and now you got a good old-fashioned 2v2. Abuelos will take the lower end of things. Rebel there on the top. Crack has one more nade remaining. That's going to be great for the overtime hill. Chaoz will pick up the torque. There is a chance we have a bit of a stalemate here. Rebel might have the secondary sniper in their hands by the time the overtime hill pops into play, so I'm looking at player 7 Crack to stay alive.
Yeah, I'm about to say Crack needs to be very, very careful here, because as soon as Kardia goes back for the sniper, or even kind of shows that he's picking it up, that's when they can try to push, but it looks like he's not even going to wait for that sniper. I know overtime's important, 2v2. We're going to try and at least trap him in there, put that damage down, and then go for a frag play.
All right, I like it. Rebel slowly pushing up. Obviously, Abuelos, they've got good real estate on the current hill. Pops up in 2 seconds. Crack, nade out in hands. His best chance is maybe to kill Solar here. Smoke is out. Nade pushes through, and like I said, Solar will drop off. Now it's up to Chaoz to try and clutch. He can't. And Rebel will win their first round, bring it 1-3, and that was off the back of a great 2v2. Chavii could have disrupted that round and put Abuelos up 3-0 if he connects a little bit more when he made that aggressive push, but ultimately it didn't come to fruition. But good use of the nade. This was that Chavii push. If he gets to kill on Crack, it's a different story.
I don't know if Crack purposely chose the targets that he did. I got to imagine he did, but that was perfect target selection. He realized the sniper missed the bullet. He wasn't going to get shot from that guy. The only guy that can kill him is the first one that he eliminated. So perfect shot placement from Crack as Xploidz going in. He wants to get the sniper out of Chavii's hands and put it in his own. First down's going to come through, but they're just hiding in the smoke, trying to get aggressive on the players in line. Solar gets taken down, a little over aggressive, and that's something you kind of pinpointed to start this match out.
Yeah, that over aggression sometimes, comes from Solar, it comes from Chavii. You don't see it as much from Addvers and Chaoz. And if Solar's going to make pushes like that, he's got to make sure he's getting the kills, or else he's just literally throwing his life away. And when Rebel gets that first blood, Jacob, they're going to take that to the bank, as they did here. They bring it 3-2. And now my concern for Abuelos is they try to get aggressive. They were clearly feeling themselves. Solar felt like he was superhuman when he made that push. He pushed with all the confidence in the world. Now that he gets sit down a little bit, is that going to get into his head? Will Abuelos be able to regain? We'll find out after this round.
Yeah, I like how Rebel, though, is kind of contesting that sniper a little bit more. They realize they're not getting the downs. They're not getting the elim that they're looking for by letting Chavii and Solar use that smoke flash combo. This time around, you can kind of see the mirror. Identivez, Crack, double flashes toward the backside. Chavii's not going to get it. In fact, he's going to get eliminated. Chaoz goes down onto the line. That's going to be Addvers. Has to abandon him. He cannot be the hero that he needs him to be until now. He gets that down onto Kardia to try to even it up, but he loses Solar, who gets over aggressive yet again. 3v1, too much for Addvers, and Rebel have tied us up at 3 rounds apiece.
I think Solar hit a couple of great shots there. He also felt justified in making the push. Unfortunately, he ended up getting taken down, but I think that was the only potential move that he could make in that point in time, because he was isolated between 3 members of Rebel. So no harm, no foul, but he happened to be over there when his teammates were finished off on the lower end. Now that's 3-3. We're tied up, and Rebel has recovered quite well. They've now shut down Abuelos, being overly aggressive, and they've now shut down Abuelos' bread and butter, which is going for the snipe. So Abuelos, if they want to continue to be successful here on this map, they've got to find out what makes Rebel tick and shut them down, because Rebel has clearly found out what makes Abuelos tick. But a strong opening down on the Crack might at least put Rebel on the back burner and have them pump the brakes for a bit.
Yeah, you have Chavii and Solar trying to move up, but great flashes to stun him out, not giving up that sniper for free. As Xploidz has one lonely flash next. I believe Kardia might have a smoke in his hands when it comes to those utility frags. On the other side, it's going to be all up to Chaoz with a flash on his side. So we got a smoke flash looking like they're just trying to aim it on the side of Rebel. Back pillar for one. Smoke and flash combination to try to get that sniper out. Xploidz, he gets the pickup, goes down, back-to-back revives. Identiv saving the day, but how much will it cost? You see the damage, the focus onto the line. Xploidz connects with one onto Solars. They lose Kardia in the mix. Actually, back-to-back downs. Kardia and Crack get eliminated.
It's a big turning point for Abuelos. Now bring it 3-2. Identivez, he surely drops here, and he will. So Xploidz has a big task ahead of him. He's in a 1v3. The sniper's going to help. And Addvers makes a push where he overstays his welcome out in the open. And Xploidz is not going to waste an opportunity like that. He's so deadly with the sniper. I'm really surprised Addvers pushed out as long as he did.
Yeah, they're just giving him 2 different 1v1s right now. You're saying, hey, Xploidz.
What?
Here's the round on a silver platter. We just want you to take it. No.
He's here.
He's just being brave right now.
No, he's being sneaky, bro. What? And then he's going to cross right in front of X. Chavii just makes a weird play, but I'm a fan of it. I mean, he stays put. There was a chance when Xploidz was focused on Chaoz down low. Chavii could have, absolutely flanked Xploidz there and probably got the kill, but he holds his ground and gives Chaoz an opportunity to get on the hill, and Xploidz can't make the push. That was a smart play from Chavii.
Kind of kept him. Honestly, even though that was a play by Chavii to kind of keep him guessing, keep him separated, keep him from really getting in that position, that was a very high-risk situation because Xploidz had 2 different opportunities. If he just focused on Chavii up top instead of trying to put the shots on the Chaoz down low, he would have had a 1v1 that he would have taken way before overtime.
Yeah, Chavii, good play, but, there's some risk, but sometimes it brings reward, and clearly it brought reward for Abuelos, who strike back. Rebel, they were on a tear. They won a couple of rounds in a row, but Abuelos, they'll taper that off a bit. Crack getting aggressive. Wow. A rare miss from Xploidz on a down player.
Smoke there. It's going to allow for Chaoz to try to get aggressive. The flash is out. So many players are looking at him. Great Great play by Chaoz to just not get aggressive there in that situation, even if the flash stunned him.
He picks up the nades. He'll get bodied, but he still lives. And he'll obviously be able to make an impact with those nades, hopefully. Rebels got to keep that to the back of their minds. That call out has been made. Addvers can't keep Xploidz down enough, so Xploidz going to continually get some shots, but he's not connecting. We've seen, I believe, now 3 misses from him. That gives an opportunity for Abuelos to, close the gap and push up, forcing Rebel back. Losing a member here would definitely hurt, and they do lose one, but Xploidz finally connects, so it's going to be a 3v3. Oh, nice shot.
Not once, but twice, and the second one's going to take his head off. Kardia going down low, grabbing that torque bow. Rebel is definitely doing everything right, including, even though they lost a player in crack early, they didn't slow down. They didn't give up on themselves. They're collecting every single resource, the flashes as well. And you look at him, he's not playing sniper. He wants to play that foundational gameplay and back to basics. They're just going for the elims, using that teamwork. Sniper's going to connect with a shot onto Chaoz.
Nice Xploidz, and I believe that is going to be an ace, right, Jacob? I mean, he picked up 1, 2, I think 3 with the snipe, if I'm not mistaken, and then that's the 4th. That is a hell of a round from Xploidz.
And then Identivez does that.
I know. Well, what are you going to do, man?
You know what that was? Identivez said, good job, but I'm still the king.
So that was the first one. Oh, so Chaoz did
Addvers in the middle.
Okay, so hold on. And then he... Okay. So I think that was 2 before. Yeah, he got the ace, right? If I'm not mistaken.
3 headshots, and then he just solidified that last one. Yep, that's the ace.
Wow.
I'm taking him to Vegas.
Xploidz. And he missed that down player, and then he missed a couple more after that. After the down player, the others can be forgiven because those were tough shots. But I mean, I thought that round was going to play a lot differently. But well done from Rebel. Chavii caught out. He's going to be first blooded. Rebel now in a 4v3, still pushing for sight. Can't get Solar down, though. It's going to be a big battle, maybe a turning point. It's going to be more so a turning point for Rebel. Now 4v1, and they will be on map point.
That misroll, you saw the character misroll, didn't see who it was, but it definitely cost him his life. He was just trying, and you can see his teammate next to him doing the same thing to output the damage, to get the downs back to back, even though the revives are there. So a big blunder cost them a round, and it's a possible go-ahead round. Rebel now on map point, 1 round away from going up 2-0 in the series, which is devastating.
Definitely devastating, but great for Rebel fans all around. They continue to fight back, even though it's been a close map, or at least close map 1, close map 2. Rebel seems to regain and overall find some loopholes or find some weak links in the chain, if you will. Crack taking his time. He's been known to make this push on the Chaoz. The Solar cuts through middle, though. He's tried to cut off Xploidz, but Identivez going to be the good teammate that he is going to get the pickup, and Xploidz will drop once again. But Rebel has first blood already, but will Abuelos be able to recover? I don't know. It's now 4v2.
No recovery. No recovery at all. Chavii, the last one there, and Rebel, after a slow start on Clocktower, end the game strong. Multiple round clutches, and they've definitely cleaned it up and win the map 6-4 over Abuelos y sus Nietos to take a commanding 2-0 lead. Reflections, is this what you expected?
I mean, I did. I expected Rebel to obviously be the better team tonight. That's why I ended up picking them. I knew Abuelos was going to give a great fight, and they have continued to give great fights time in and time out. But this is what I expected from Rebel, take a 2-0 lead and just, kind of have their way with the map and the series, and that's exactly what they're doing. And they're sharing the love with Crack, Xploidz, and then, of course, Kardia doing his thing on map number 1. Rebel leads 2-0 in this series. We need a response from Abuelos. Will we get it on map 3 Harbor? We'll find out after the break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Gears Pro League Split 3, Day 3. 2 maps down and a 2-0 lead for Rebel as they are in control of the series. Abuelos, they've showed us now 2 times in a row, Jacob, that they can take a good lead. They can put up a great fight. But where they start to taper off is towards the tail end, whether it be the tail end of Control, the tail end of the rounds in Escalation, or the tail end of Execution. Closing out maps and closing out series is where Abuelos consistently struggles.
Yeah, and honestly, you can kind of see it. They started off, I think it was like 3-0, 3-1, I think, when Rebel got their first round win. But you can see overall, since that point when Rebel got their first round win, there were not many adjustments, if any, on the side of Abuelos y sus Nietos. So it goes to show me, even though they have the experienced leaders in Chaoz and Addvers, maybe they don't have the depth of strategy I thought they could come out with, because you see Rebel, they switched it up from getting passive play, taking advantage of in that 3-0 start, to getting more and more aggressive, getting the sniper out of the hands of Chavii and Solars and into the hands of Xploidz for plays like this to happen.
I want to shout out Addvers, though. Even though he takes the L with his roster, he had 18,000 damage done. That is really impressive. He had the most damage dealt throughout the entire lobby. Close behind him, though, was Crack with 15,000 damage in his own right. Of course, 9 kills to his name. Xploidz with the sniper, big factor there. But I think what won the day here, Jacob, to me, had to be Rebel just adjusting quite well to what Abuelos was throwing their way, and that's just Rebel being an overall more mature roster, and a roster that can see what's being thrown at them and they can adjust accordingly, and that just comes with experience, and Rebel has that.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned experience and Rebel having it, even though Kardia is kind of, and I'm doing air quotes here, we're not at cams just yet, but even though Kardia is the new guy to the team, new kid on the block, he's not new at all. He has so much familiarity with every single person on this roster. They just need to figure out what they like and what they don't like, what positions they want to put him in, what positions they don't want to put him in. And this is a perfect matchup too, because it's not the best of the best team. It's not like you're going against the Pittsburgh Knights or Rise by any means. So you have a chance to switch things up and really have fun trying things out.
Switch things up, and you know, nobody knows that better than our top 5 teams who consistently perform well. So Rebel might not be top 5 right now, but I think towards the end they definitely will be. So we'll see how map number 3 is going to go. It's going to be Escalation. Team orientation is going to be big. Slaying power is going to be bigger on Harbor, obviously, than the other maps that we have in Training Grounds of Vasgar, especially off that initial. We could see strong showings from Solar. We could see strong showings from Chavii. Solar, the reason why I point him out is because more often than not, he is in that 1v spot. Now, it's not going to be easy for him against anybody who's got to go against Rebel. He's got to hold his ground, because that slaying power from Rebel has proven to be great, not only in map 1, but also in map number 2, and it's going to be even better here in map 3. Rebel, they love Harbor, but Abuelos picked this map for a reason. We're going to find out why.
Yeah, and if Abuelos or Rebel, either one of these two teams are beginning to convincingly lose that fight over towards the winch, I'm going to see something up top. It's probably going to be a sniper. We might see an M-bar or torque bow, but up top or the middle. That's what you want to use to kind of stretch the fights out, more commonly in the middle, because putting it up top doesn't switch it up too much for a team to kind of feel comfortable going back into that fight.
Right, how is this going to turn out? Chat, let us know. Will Abuelos come back into the fight, or is this where the buck stops? Will Rebel finish Abuelos here? I gotta be honest with you, I want to see a bit more of this series, but we might not. Look at Crack immediately going on the flank, something you don't see often at all, and he's immediately going to challenge Addvers. That's going to give the 1v player from Rebel, who is Kardia, real estate onto B, but is Rebel going to be able to close out in domination? They are not going to be able to, and that's going to be because of player 5 Chavii, who slips through the cracks. He will get a touch on the C, but Jacob, for Crack to go on that flank, you never see that, at least off of round 1.
That's brave, but at the same time, it's not too surprising, because it's Identivez-led rosters that usually like to switch things up. They try to figure something out, and you can see a 1v1, not letting Chavii capture that hill. It's all points for Rebel. Nothing going away. Abuelos and Kardia coming back just in time to help his teammate. And I like that play. The whole team taking steps back, giving up the home hill of their opponent to take their home back. And then they're dancing forward step by step, inch by inch. They get to skip a step because they don't have to retake that neutral.
They don't, and that's going to be huge. And Abuelos, they've got some time to work with. 70 seconds. Rebel's not going to push forward for the domination yet. They might if they get, 3 down. But as of right now, Abuelos is relatively safe in that regard, and therefore they can set up on the bottom end of the ramp. And that's where they're going to send all their players forward to. Identa's going to do his best to hold Chaoz back, and Abuelos completely backs up. Player 1, player 2, Xploidz and Crack commanding respect on the battlefield.
I didn't want to be that guy, but I feel like if Abuelos loses the initial, they have slim to no chance of being able to retake against a Rebel squad who's playing like they should, but Crack gets caught out. Chavii gets caught out as well, trying to go for that Elim that opens the door wide open towards the bottom side. Kardia feeling that pressure, but look at everybody playing into that role. Absolutely perfect. Xploidz uncontested on the boat, putting that damage down. Kardia and Crack get to work together, and Xploidz once again just alleviating pressure, staggering out these deaths, and you can already see them moving in for a triple cap domination, but that's neither here nor there. With 2 hills to possibly none here, it looks like Rebel, regardless of the win condition, are going to take this round.
This first round is going to hurt Abuelos for a lot of different reasons. At face value, it hurts because they lose round number 1 in pretty dominant and convincing fashion. But also Crack going on the flank is going to put Abuelos, at least in my mind, in a frenzy, because now they have to consistently check the position from Addvers, who's going to be opposite of, I believe, who is he opposite of? Kardia. He's going to be opposite of Kardia. But now, in the back of your mind, if you're an Abuelos member, you've got to think, do I need to be watching the middle section? Do I need to be putting Crack in check? But if you send a player to help Addvers for the neutral fight, then you're giving up Winch and therefore the home-to-home overextension. That first round set into Abuelos' mind, at least in my opinion, that Rebel can go anywhere on the map. So where do they put, where do they put their eggs in what basket, Jacob? It's hard to decide now.
Yeah, this first round, you really only have 2 choices. You put the Boltok either low side or high side. You put it high side because you want to affect this fight. You scrap that last round. Somebody's got to win that first round. And for Abuelos, if they don't lose or win this next round, then I can see something going down in the middle. And by the looks of it, first down on the Crack, staggering out a couple players back to back. Crack goes down, Xploidz falls, and Identivez too. This is a great round for Abuelos, and it goes to show that that weapon placement didn't matter too much.
Kardia backs completely off of the neutral fight, which is very interesting from my perspective. You would think it might be better to challenge the neutral, maybe, challenge Addvers, which he's won that fight already, but instead he backs off and he puts himself in a theoretical 1v3. Jacob, was that the play to make?
I'm thinking for a moment. It just depends on who you ask. For anybody on the Pioneers, yes. Anybody else, no.
Because what, the slaying power from Pioneers, or?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I do get it, though. I mean, Kardia's thinking, okay, they're going to send an additional player on dock. I'm going to have to fight a 1v2, but they don't send an additional player on dock. It just would have been a 1v1. I think that would have been a better play in hindsight. He doesn't do it. The round goes to Abuelos, who wins the winch fight. Now, do we see Rebel once again send Crack through middle? We will. So now, just like round 1, Rebel is sending Crack on the flank. Addvers doesn't even get anywhere close to the neutral because he sees Crack coming his way. So that's going to be an easy 2-to-1 hill cap for Rebel off the rip. And they're going for 3. They're going for the Mr. Krabs here.
Hard to see. Solar backtracking. A double stun, though. You see Crack going down early. They lose another player at that neutral, and you can already see Chavii trying to card and get the information on Xploidz, but with Identivez winning that big battle on the other side of the map, he's not going to waste time capturing the hill because he realizes a position is so much more important, especially since this is just the beginning.
Nice kill from Chavii, taking down Identivez. Now he can double back in a 1v1, make that a 2v1 because Chaoz will join Chavii to help take down Xploidz. And Xploidz can make it out of here. We've seen him do it before, but he's not going to be so lucky now. Rebel, they throw a lot out there just like they did in round 1, Jacob. But in round 2, Abuelos did something that I think changed the course and the pacing of how this initial ended up working as opposed to round 1, is they backed up. Right, Addvers didn't challenge Crack. He backed up, and then Abuelos put all their emphasis to win that neutral fight and then backtrack up to take the fight onto A. That pullback from Abuelos was a good reaction. They didn't feed into the aggression of Crack or the aggression of Rebel, and Abuelos was able to recover quite well.
You see already, because of that recovery that you're talking about, that neutral hill is there. As Xploidz, he gets aggressed on, almost snuck up too, as Chaoz, he's forced to back down, but Chavii's there. 1-2 punch combo. The next hill is going to be decapped with the Retro Lancer. They're backing him down. Crack goes in, but he goes in full red. Meat Shield's going to be picked up by Chavii. The teammates are there. He's going to get full red, but you look at them just working together, backtracking in unison to make this all possible. Now Xploidz has one tall task, and he's not going to come out not successful. Abuelos, he says Nietos, even though they're down 2-0 in maps, they're not giving up and not going down without a fight.
And they're adjusting very well. Again, to see Crack, Addvers spots him just like he did in round 1. This time he backs away, and Abuelos plays as a team, giving up real estate at Winch, giving up real estate on the overextension, but they don't give up the neutral. They at least guarantee one hill, but because they banded together, they got the kills they needed to then take the advantage and then ultimately push up for the domination. That was a great adjustment, good teamwork, and clearly good communication from Abuelos' perspective.
Just imagine if Chavii accidentally meleeed his teammate that was down and then he gets chunked. That would have just been the worst. But
that would have been a bad play.
2-1. I'm looking at Rebel to really take control over this fight once more. They haven't been successful here, and honestly, that's probably why Abuelos picked the map, because they can get away with things like that. As Xploidz gets first blooded yet again, Solars gets taken out. Chavii's gonna fall. Things are turning around for Rebel as Identivez gets another one onto Chaoz, sets his eyes onto Addvers, forcing him out of the hill, not letting him capture and denying that point opportunity.
Anytime you play against Rebel and Harbor, you have to keep in the back of your mind that Identivez, he's going to go up top and swing on you from the top end. He does that so consistently, and he's a big factor as to why Rebel can be such a successful team on the second half, because he's an explosive player on that neutral fight in second. But Identivez swinging wide, it pays dividends. He not only has an effect now onto Winch, but he can get that overarching angle onto B. And nobody felt that more than Solar in that moment, because he tried to push up. Chavii knows he has to get Identivez away, but Identivez holds his ground. That's 3 gone. Does Rebel capitalize and push for the domination? Addvers is out? Yeah, they're not going to pump the brakes, brother. They're pushing forward. Solar's about to have his hands full.
It depends on this next few seconds here. No damage on the Solar. He's going to back up. Yeah, and everybody from Rebel, they didn't get Solars as quick as they should have, so everybody's just trying to fall into position. Solar picking up that shock grenade. You see all of them in your mini-map making a mad dash to the other side of the map to take that position, but Rebel knows there's no weapon up there. There's no hill up there. There's no reason to go down up there.
Reason at all, and Rebel's comfortable playing the long game, and we've been brought up to the attention of everybody that Abuelos, you know, they could be the strongest if they win a strong initial and then, you know, effectively close out the round quickly. That's how they did it in the 2 rounds that they were able to take. But Rebel is comfortable playing the long game because of plays like I did in the early portion of round number 4, or even Kardia there, you know, backing up and lancering out. Now you can obviously see Chavii being pushed back. Abuelos isn't as comfortable in the extended rounds as they are with an explosive start.
Couple downs continue to ring in for Rebel as they're looking to close out this round as well. Tied the series up before the half. Xploidz gonna go down, capturing the hill, but he was just a sponge, getting Addvers to poke out. He gets taken down. Chaoz trying to make that play, but even if he is successful here and gets a double kill, he cannot be in everywhere at once. He's gonna go down, and Rebel will rise up before the half and tie it up at 2 rounds apiece. And honestly, just kind of looking at this matchup, I begin to kind of worry more and more and more, because late game, that's when Rebel begins to look their best.
Yeah. And that means that Rebel just has to survive the initial. They have to play the initial in a way that even if they lose a couple of players, they can still effectively keep one hill, get off the respawn, and then kind of formulate a plan to come back from that point. So that's going to be the biggest task. Just, you know, playing the initial effectively, not giving too much ground towards the side of Abuelos, but also not giving them an opportunity to capitalize off of a 3-man down to a domination.
Come on! My lance is hungry!
Because this one's so tied, that weapon that I kind of talked about early on, if they weren't able to get their footing, is not going to go down. Neither team wanting to make that high risk, but Xploidz not stunned once, but twice. Crack's going to try to go in. He gets taken down. Xploidz soon to follow. Chaoz not slowing down, continuing to get that aggressive nature onto Identivez. So stack them up, Reflections. 3 up, 3 down. They're looking for the 4th.
And this is the worst possible outcome that Rebel was looking for. And at this point in time, Abuelos are looking to lock it up in a domination, which they've done so many times before. And I love that player 7, Solar, catches player 1. I think that was Xploidz, who was trying to sneak up towards the neutral. That happens so often where you think you're getting a domination, but a player slips off, through the cracks off of the respawn, gets up top, and then gets the neutral to extend the round and keep the round alive. Solar, he thinks ahead, instead, he plays himself or plants himself in a corner, and he spots that player off the respawn. He's trying to sneak away to the neutral to keep the round alive, and therefore gave enough time to his teammates to lock in the domination. Heads up play from Solar, heads up start, and a great start anyways for on the second half for Abuelos.
Uh-oh, we see who's doubting themselves now. Rebel, for the first time in their matchup, I'm seeing doubt, or at least that's the feeling I'm getting. I could be completely wrong. Maybe they want that sniper, change up the fight, because last time we seen more than just those base strategies involved. Rebel was able to pull away.
I do like this, though, from Rebel. I think this is an intelligent play because now the initial is going to be tapered off a bit for Abuelos. They're not going to get that 3v3 fight that they have been so successful at. Now it's going to split this up and if anything, guarantee an extension of the round. But Solar does a great job. He hunts down the sniper. He hunts down another player and picks off 2 players off the rip. And Abuelos, even though I thought the round would be surely extended, I mean, Abuelos come out the gate swinging, and they're going to be threatening a domination. It's up to player 8 of Addvers to hold his ground, but he's forced to back away.
Yeah, Rebel, they're going to get this elimination. They're going to hard OE over to the other side of the map. But I might have spoke too soon. Addvers finding a way to stay alive. Finally, he's going to go down. And this is where I'm seeing. You're going to see Crack. He's trying to overextend, but because it took so long, Solar's just spawning up. He's trying to be that defensive player they need him to be, but Identivez, like Chaoz, he smells blood in the water. He's hunting somebody down and hoping they're not paying attention and crossing so that way he can land that headshot.
So Rebel, they do effectively get what they want. They get a round that is extended. So now they're going to try and win with their brains rather than their brawn. And they're going to try and just ultimately control the pacing here, which is something that they do exceedingly well. But Abuelos, to their credit, are holding on quite well, Jacob, is they're up 3-2 in the series, but they're also up 130-99 here, and they have recovered their own home mill, and they're going for a domination, forcing Rebel to get onto E, and they do, but they're both down. This is another round going to Abuelos.
Getting both of those limited. That was big. That was great plays by Chavii, making sure nobody slips behind enemy lines. 4-2 reflections. Abuelos have woken up in this series. They're beginning to match that fire with fire. And it's not just in terms of mechanics, punch for punch. They're switching up their strategies, but it still revolves around that boat fight, because I think that was still the defining fight that Rebel lost that gave Abuelos so much control.
Abuelos, they picked this map. I had my reservations because Rebel tend to be great on Harbor, but hey, Abuelos, they're fantastic. They really are. And that was a round that was extended out, but they held on and they outplayed Rebel. They really did. So now it's up to Rebel. You mentioned them getting a bit desperate, wanting to change the pacing. They did that with the long shot, but that didn't work. You know, Abuelos, they stay ahead of the game. Rebel, they have a large mountain to climb at this point.
That's how you start that climb, though. You take one giant step up those baby steps you were talking about. You might be 6'8", but Identivez is 6'9".
He definitely is. With the way that he plays, he might not be 6'9" in height, but his hands, you better believe he's 6'9". He'll give you those hands any day of the week. And Xploidz wants that sniper. You got to get Crack out of there. And, well, he does, but Crack now has to back up and pick up Xploidz in return. This is a scary sight. Crack with the sniper. I'd rather have Xploidz have it, but either way, just having that extra firepower is going to make things a bit harder for Abuelos to keep consistent in this round. Now Xploidz, the sniper goes into his hands, and now it's time to get to work.
On the other side of the map, Kardia is feeling a little lonely. He's feeling that pressure. Multiple marks going out. That puts so much more importance. Xploidz misses the first one. Kardia full red. He's finally going to go down. Crack is there, and so is Xploidz, or at least in sniper form, connected with a headshot onto Addvers. Chaoz went down to Crack, but they're just going to leave him there. Stagger him out while trying to make that flank. Solars, he doesn't see it coming just yet. Turns around just in the nick of time to catch him creeping.
Crack moving up, but he's going to be moving out as he gets taken down. Identivez, though, has made so many highlight plays from this spot alone, and he's going to do it once again. He picks up 2. Surely he gets the 3rd, and ladies and gentlemen, there it is. Anytime Identivez is fighting up top for the neutral or fighting up top in general, I'm scared for anybody he's going against. I don't care if an entire roster is up there. You got to take note Identivez is there because he's a playmaker.
One final push. of Rebel. The only way that Abuelos can win this one is a full-on squad wipe. A player sneaking right past. I don't even know if he saw them. That's Identivez trying to reposition. He's trying to stay with the rest of his team. Fears somebody behind him at the very last moment. Xploidz hearing multiple teammates in a fight. He's going to have to choose this one to perfection. Trying to turn around and help Identivez. Body shot's going to be landed, and it's only a matter of time.
You gotta get out!
They don't get the healing. They don't get the healing reflections. They didn't get it, Kardia. It's all up to you, and he goes down. Kardia is out. Abuelos on map point. They turn it around, and they take the map, and we're going to game number 4.
No shot! No shot! Xploidz doesn't get that kill. Are you kidding me, Jacob? Chavii, first and foremost, held his ground, but that is inexcusable for Xploidz, who had Chavii absolutely full red and doesn't get the kill. That was the round, Xploidz. What are you doing, my guy?
He hits him with the good old happy feet, bro. He walked all over him, put him in the grave, and then began to dance on it. That is just absolutely no respect right there. He didn't even mean it in that no respect way. It just looks like that from all of us at home. He hit the body shot, unable to connect with the down, and that's not the biggest thing. It cost you the map.
That's so just heartbreaking to see. Because Rebel played that round perfectly. You had Xploidz, you know, in conjunction with Crack, get out with the sniper. Xploidz puts it to work immediately, hitting cross headies across map. Yeah. And then you have Identivez pulling off a magnificent 3-piece to win the neutral. And then you come down to one final moment where you're literally just seconds away from victory, and you can't hit the last pellet onto Chavii to drop him and secure your own home hill. It's heartbreaking, Jacob.
I'm just trying to watch the second monitor. I'm trying to see what the heck just happened. Forget the monitor. Let's look at these highlights.
He choked the shot, brother. That's it.
You see Crack, though, going on that flank, just really testing your opponents, and it's just working out. You see, I'm just watching the replay right now, like on the screen. It kind of started with Crack going down first. I would say that is where it all started.
So, Crack goes down first. Xploidz hits a nice body shot. Yo, Xploidz hit a body shot on Chavii with the sniper, and then hit him with a couple pellets with the Nasher, and then fell to hit him with one more pellet. One more pellet was all he needed. Crack was there for the reinforcements. Solar was there, though. After Chavii dies, Solar was there maybe for the pickup, but that's inexcusable. You can't miss shots and miss opportunities like that after getting your own chip damage with the sniper in. Like, that's heartbreaking. And we surely have the replay at the very end here, but I mean, good job from Abuelos. They held on all the way through.
I got it, though. I got it. I know what happened. I can explain it to you. I can break it down, even though there's some great moments right here. Xploidz connecting. So I told you Crack died. Well, let me rewind it even before Crack even died just a little bit as Identivez going off. And it's really heartbreaking seeing these plays like this and what happened. So as soon as they had such a massive point lead, you can see it here yet again. That was that moment. They split up. Everybody on Rebel played individual. Crack got left by himself. Then Identivez got separated. Xploidz got separated, and across the map was Kardia. I don't know how it actually happened. I wish there was some sort of listening to hear the communication breakdown. But Rebel, when you only needed one hill, work together, Turtleback and Wolfpack, you choose to play as individuals?
Oh man, that was hard to watch. That was a round that, in my mind, was given to Rebel. Like, Rebel was gonna win that. They played it so well up until the literal last seconds of that map. But you know, we're focused on the negatives, obviously, Rebel. Let's focus on the positives for Abuelos. They played that map to a T. They played it so incredibly well. We were critical about them, you know, extending rounds. And I think that matter still stands. Rebel definitely had better defensive prowess than that of Abuelos. They were able to outshine Abuelos' offense when the round was extended and Rebel could see the map for what it was. But Abuelos did a better job playing as a team and overtaking and really capitalizing off of those initials more so than Rebel did. And another player too that shines in the negative category has to be Crack. I mean, he went 4 and 12. He had 11 assists. He had 7K damage. I mean, everybody was in double digits. Everybody in the lobby except for Crack. And with the way Crack was slaying out and playing as well as he was on map number 1 on Reactor, you thought that would translate well onto, and even map number 2, but I mean, map 3, he felt very flat, and it's not all on him, but he definitely could have done a lot better.
Yeah, I almost wish they would have spread out the map more in terms of weapon placements, because if you look at Control, the game type itself, you know, when Rebel is able to kind of discombobulate, stagger out their opponents, they can keep that pressure. Same thing when it came to that execution. It did start off a little slow, but as soon as they figured out how their opponent was playing, they knew exactly what switch ups they need to make. When looking at this map, they got shut down time and time again on the boat. They tried to switch it up with putting the sniper down, but even then, they weren't switching it up with just enough of a change to really make a difference, because a lot of those strategies, it was like 2 strategies. The win strategy with the fight that went down there, and then the strategy of the 2-2 split when the sniper going down in the middle. I expect more from Rebel, but for Abuelos, you got to give them so much credit for taking advantage and having their own switch ups that kind of propelled them to victory.
I think Abuelos, I mean, just to highlight them even more, Rebel did throw out, you know, several unique different looks. No more unique than Crack full sending it on the overextension right off the rip in the initial round 1. He did the same thing in round 3. But even when he does the same thing in round 3, Abuelos was ready for it. And I highlighted how they did such a great job at backing up and seeing that aggression from Crack and then sending another player to kind of isolate him out for the neutral fight. Abuelos played together as a team. They were clearly coordinated. And even though Rebel tried various different looks, at least 3 or 4 distinct looks, Abuelos was ready for nearly all of them. Once they saw it once, they said, okay, that's fine. We know how to adjust accordingly to that. Abuelos, they're showcasing that they're a very talented roster. And now they're going on to Regency. And we have seen Abuelos during Pro League play on Regency, and they've only played it once. They played against E United. They did lose 223 to 300, but the standout player there was Chavii. Chavii was 20-14. He had 23,000 damage. As far as stats go during that E United matchup, he had the best stats in that lobby.
I mean, he's kind of the young Slayer that we're talking about, even though we all know and have seen it for multiple years throughout different Gears of War titles, how messy and how disgusting Addvers and Chaoz can play in a lot of different moments, especially with their backs up against the wall. It's kind of like a role-playing game. You got to make sure to fit your role for your team absolutely perfect. So even though I'm saying those guys can go off, it's Solar, it's Chavii. Those are going to be these superstar Slayers that they need them to be. And it's exactly how they were able to get propelled to victory. That Wench fight kind of dominated, Slayer heavy. Even though they try to send Crack out in the middle, they were able to spot him out and backtrack in their steps and make it hard for them to keep aggressing forward. Well, I think they have the same opportunities here on Regency. Yes, but is it going to be as easy? No, because I think Rebel is going to have an easier chance on this map than the last to set up the way they want to.
I think Rebel is a team that can also regain quite well, and Regency, just in happenstance, happens to be a map that Rebel usually regains very well on. And funny enough, they normally do that when it is map 4 and they are down in the series to send it to a map 5. This time, they already have the lead, so I think Rebel's going to be just fine, but Abuelos can very well send us to a map 5. They are pretty accustomed to doing that. The only thing is getting over that hump and then, you know, taking the victory. That's where Abuelos kind of falls flat. We're having a bit of an issue with Chavii once again, connection-wise. The map is going to be loading, so I guess I'm going to have to hold off the painting for just a little bit. But I got the painting right here to my right, and I can't wait to show it to you all because it is truly spectacular. Like, I'm actually like pumped up that I have it. It's
he's better at painting than I am at Gears. That's how I strongly feel.
Dang, you're not saying something because you're great at Gears.
I am great, bro. I'm telling you, give me the chance.
I'm all for it. I told you.
Everybody's lunch money.
I would love to cast over you, brother. Like, I'm telling you I would. So just so I could roast you so hard, Jacob, when you make bad plays. I would love to roast you, Jacob, when you play. That's why I want you to play so bad.
I don't know how to take that right now.
I just want to lay into you, man.
Pause. Let's go. Chavii's just trying, but he gets taken. That's a great start from Xploidz right there, and that is how you come out with revenge.
All right, coming out with revenge. Like I said, Rebel, they got a good regain ability, and they do it quite consistently. And one thing they do let slip through the cracks, obviously Chavii gets the M-bar. Rebel, they're going to take advantage of the first kill and the point lead. So that's all good as long as they can prioritize the spawn control for next. But Chavii seems to be the guy with the M-bar making some big plays. He already picks up one. He'll barely miss Xploidz across the way. Shock is going to keep him at bay, but I don't know how that went. I don't even know where that went. Maybe through Identivez, but either way, he'll drop. Now it's up to Rebel with Kardia and co to lock in the spawns for the next hill, and they're doing so.
I like how Chavii immediately knew where to set his eyes and his end bar. Clicking on Kardia's head, that's going to go back to the respawn and make it their job to try to push forward. They know the next hill, and getting deep into the spawn is so important, but Solars gets denied. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200, but Chavii's going to collect another head.
Next, another head. And one thing that I've seen off the rip with Chavii, do not give him the in-bar, man. Fight for that in-bar, bro, and fight for the real estate on the map, because Chavii is not going to be backing down. He played exceedingly well on the last map on Harbor, and I mean, that is carrying over here in fashion on Regency. Even though Rebel, they had real estate on the spawn control, you see how quickly Chavii was able to discombobulate and disassemble that setup from Rebel, but still, Rebel, silver lining, they do push in. They wolf pack together. The only one they got to get through now is Chavii, and they do.
And Solar saw his teammates dying left and right. He said, yo, you know what? Distract them. I'm going to grab us the spawn low side. It looks like a greedy play, but that was a smart 5,000 IQ play, because that allows them to get back into the action and try to make another attempt at breaking through this hill.
Nice angle from Solar. He's going to get the drop on one. Chavii, or Chaoz, excuse me, is going to take the advantage to get the finish on the Kardia. Still, Rebel, they do have a couple of members inside, but not for long, because Solar, you know, hey, well done from him. Identivez waiting for the in-bar. He'll get it just in nick of time, but he's got to connect here, or else he's dead and he will die.
That is how you play your life on Solars. If you guys are going back and you're watching your VODs, figure out how to do that again. He sacrificed a player, like I said, to grab the spawn point as Xploidz trying to go for a flank. Solars again turns and burns, takes him out, but numbers eventually catch up to him. 2v1, frag over the top. He's able to get the down, blows himself up to try to catch Crack slipping. He back rolls just in the nick of time, but these plays that are being made by Abuelos right now is so outside of the box thinking. I love it.
52-60, it's close as can be. You got Identivez and Crack desperately fighting for their life. They see maybe the best way is to go forward. They do take down Addvers and now can focus their attention on the Chaoz, who will drop. He had Solar on the outskirts. He wanted to help Chaoz, but he prioritized the hill, and Xploidz will prioritize the kill. 60-60. We're tied up for a little bit for Rebel. They'll take the lead.
You see the weapons coming up. Nothing in this next minute, so it's going to take this full hill. So when it comes to Abuelos breaking through, they're not going to have those extra power weapons, but if they are successful, you're going to see them try to disperse outward so they can defend the power weapons. The next hill is going to be at the top side of the map as well. To win or lose, this could be a good spot for Abuelos. You see multiple players going in, multiple players going out.
Xploidz, yo!
He got it though. He got the ace.
Did he get it?
He got the ace at the end of the day.
Second ace tonight.
Oh,
Jacob,
man.
that's a second ace tonight, my dude. Xploidz, I mean, hey, that man is proving his value here.
I know it's going to be hard, so we can start the stat from today on out. Most aces in a single series. Right now, he has 2.
Woo! Identivez also working that mid lane, doing it well, taking down Chavii. He won't even get close. When you have a player ace your entire roster, you gotta regain after that and not take too much. You can't allow that to carry too much weight mentally, because you still got a lot more map to be played. But when you have a player do that much damage as an individual, it can really hurt you for the remainder of the map.
Oh my God, threading the needle with that last shot to take on Addvers. Try to bleed him out. Solar wasting no time. Chaoz getting those frag grenades as well, and he's right down there. He can try to disrupt this and save Solar, backing down a couple players, but it looks like those chain revives are going to be forced out. Crack trying to line up the shots and intimidate players with that end bar, but the numbers game, 3v2, make it 3v none as they quickly go in, find the eliminations. Kardia trying to be the hero. Now he's in the same spot, 3v1, and they will continue to fall all the same. Identivez is going to be that last player down there. He's going to rethink the situation and allow his teammates to spawn before he makes the push.
I'll be honest, man. I'm happy Abuelos takes this hill, because after I saw Xploidz get the ace and then Identivez work the mid lane as well as he did, and then Crack control the statue hill, I was thinking to myself, ooh, Abuelos, they're not going to be able to recover, but they do so, and they do so incredibly well. So they're going to keep the scoreline relatively tight and close. Xploidz not going to be by him, well, not by himself, excuse me. Identivez is also there, and he's going to try and stay alive despite being full red. As long as he can keep this hill contested, that's going to be a huge positive. Shock's going to force out a couple. He'll get the down on the Chavii, who's in no man's land. He won't be picked up, and Rebel will continue their lead forward. They'll be at 130 plus, but we got to focus on next. Rebel knows they've got to push through a defensive setup of Abuelos, who were able to rotate back a little earlier.
Yeah, you can see they're pushing with about 14 seconds left on the clock. Just in case if things go wrong, they give themselves more than enough time to spawn up and try it yet again. And that's where they kind of prefaced it. They gave themselves enough time. It went absolutely wrong. 4 players down and out for Rebel. And they're going to have another chance. Who hasn't even rotated? They're going to spawn back up, but they're going to have to sacrifice. That really lost them not only the hill, but the M-bar as well.
That M-bar going to Chaoz this time around. We saw Chavii pop off with it at the initial start of this map number 4 in Regency, but see what Chaoz can do. Love that positioning from Addvers. He'll at least get 1 chunk, and then Chaoz follows it up with a second. There's going to be a trade, or Solar will take down Identivez, and that is an absolute team wipe in favor of Abuelos, as they should be able to take the lead for the first time in a little bit.
And this is where with 50 seconds left on the clock, you best believe that Rebel is going to try to make an offensive push. Mixed with that shock grenade, you see Crack getting spotted out. They don't want to let that one become a surprise. But since they didn't see all 4 members, I want to hope somebody will eventually watch their back, because Xploidz will get that additional angle and be like shooting fish in a barrel. What?
Nice nade, nice shot from Chaoz. I thought Chavii was impressive, but Chaoz is looking just as good. And Abuelos nearly gets every single point off of that current hill, and I gotta say, well done from them. And they did so by losing the statue fight. We saw an incredible play from Xploidz and Identivez, and really just a combined effort from Rebel. But Abuelos, they took the opportunity to rotate back, cut Rebel off the rotation from the statue hill, and then ultimately never back down. They controlled the nades, they controlled the shock, they controlled the M-bar, and they're looking to do exactly the same thing here off of the current hill, which obviously we see Rebel currently inside of it. But you got to favor Abuelos in their positioning on the outside. This is a chance to take this over.
They just can't get greedy. They can't over-rush this situation. Just step by step, because you did talk about the outward position. Solars goes in, puts himself to get shot in different angles, giving up that man advantage. 4v3, but Crack getting downed out, forced to backtrack. And I like how Rebel, they're playing discipline. They're not breaking out because they know the points and the hill is so much more important.
Rebel can't break out because they don't have real estate anyways of the spawn control, so they're just going to stay where they currently are. But you said they have to, and I agree with you, because now we're going to see the repercussions of not pushing out. Abuelos now still with spawn control, and look at Rebel as they spawn up on the opposite side, plus they lose the M-bar. Well, maybe not so just yet. Addvers will die off, so M-bar doesn't actually go to waste. They'll get it out, but either way, Rebel, they lost real estate on the current hill. They did get Xploidz with the M-bar, so that could be a scary sight.
Yeah, even though it's 25 seconds, that's enough to take the lead back. Solars with the perfect shot to take out Identivez, bouncing around and just trying to buy time, quite honestly, as Addvers knows his teammate dies. He's trying to reposition himself outward, because it's going to go back to the start. That Rose Garden Hill, they already got frags. They're going to get that shock grenade, but on the other side, it's the M-bar that's in the hands of Xploidz. So he's going to be the guy that everybody on Rebel is looking for to make a play.
Oh, Solar.
Close.
Xploidz is trying to line it up, expecting Solar just beeline it straight forward. He doesn't. Even so, Solar should die here. He tries to make a play. Good on him, but it's not going to happen. Chavii, though, hugging the corner tight. Any kill here would be great. He pushes up, but unfortunately, he will die off. That leaves Chaoz in the hill only for a short period of time. Great connection from Xploidz, and Rebel in control of the fresh set of rotations. We're back at Roses where we started off. Rebel, they got the early points off the rip. Where they fell flat is off of the second hill because they didn't control spawns. We'll see if they recover here off of the fresh start, but either way, they do take the lead once again.
Yeah, they got to do this as quick as possible while simultaneously maintaining that Lancer fire to try to close in on the angles. 2 players fall. Flash grenade to try to distract Chaoz, but too much damage is being displaced on the Kardia and Xploidz. They will both fall, and the hill will go over to Abuelos, and only 6 seconds is all that's needed before they take the lead on back with 40 seconds more up for grabs. So about 220 is the most the team can kind of reach, and you can see Crack. They're trying to fight for the forward spawn against Solar, so this could be a big battle that plays a big role for the future.
Absolutely. Last time it was Chavii off the start who was able to hold his ground here. This time it's looking to be Solar, which to his credit, I mean, he did drop Crack and he gets picked back up. So from Chavii to Solar, that's a great hold. And Abuelos, just like the start at the beginning of this map, they have control of spawns. Rebel, they didn't even take the point lead back. That's still in Abuelos' favor. Abuelos could very well take a significant lead shortly.
Kardia has to back down. Staying alive here after you get that elim is so big. Chaoz on the other side spots out Identivez. This is where they know Identivez is here by himself. He's trying to reunite with some teammates. Perfect moves by the king himself to get down Solars, reunite with Crack, and try to take that back spawn. They got that spot on Addvers. Make short work of him. So 2 players are down and out on the side of Abuelos as Chavii takes down Crack and has frag grenades. So it doesn't matter that Identivez has this M-bar because it's easily matched with 2 well-placed frags.
Those frags can be harmful. They can hurt you quite a bit. But only if you stay alive. You gotta avoid the M-bar and Chaoz will drop, but still nades in the hands of Chavii. He's got them out. He's waiting to line it up perfectly. Only give away 10 or so seconds. Chaoz does get a bit of a flank though, and Chaoz could disrupt. Nades are out. That's at least going to push Rebel back. Some real estate inside the hill for Abuelos. Now it's up to Rebel to kill the remaining members inside. Identivez picks up 1. He's going to double back for the second. He will in fact get the final couple of pellets needed. He drops. Chavii looking to make some big plays. He won't. Crack will take him down, leaving now Chaoz for Abuelos, who was the first one to die off the initial kills, and he's going to back all the way out, but he can't get away.
He doesn't get that spawn point towards the bottom. Flashbacks of Noble versus the Pioneers when they weren't able to block the spawn for the championship. That's exactly what happened. He met his match and his maker. Rebel up about 20 plus points, forced to rotate on over towards this next hill to where Abuelos are already set up to perfection. M-bar bullets looking scarce here, but they're going to find that elimination onto Chaoz regardless. But they lose Crack in the mix. So every time they find a little bit of a footing, it gets taken away.
Getting towards the tail end, 239 and 219. Scoreline still very close. And one thing that I comment on consistently is Abuelos, you know, they fall off and taper off once the round is continued forward, or the map, I should say. Will this be any different? It might be. Abuelos, they've got control of the hill. They'll take the point lead relatively soon. Rebel's scary, though, because of that top side presence. Xploidz with the M-bar as well. This is going to be a tough hold for Addvers, Chaoz, and Chavii, who's on the outside. Keep your head down. Xploidz will take it off. And now that's going to give confidence for Rebel to push in, and Xploidz will pick up 2. Is there anything this man can't do?
Can't beat me. No, all jokes aside, I'm pretty sure I played
Yeah, he can.
Yeah, and he did beat me right there. But I like down low. It was Chavii. He knew he was outmatched. He backs up, waiting for his team. These guys are learning on the fly not to get over aggressive. Your life means so much, and the damage output is impeccable right here for Xploidz. He lands another shot onto Solar. Chavii's down, but revive back into this one, as this one is basically going to decide who's going to be able to hold on to the lead. Up A from Xploidz. Help from Crack is on the way, and they get all 3 elims at the perfect time to hold on to this hill and get the scrap time, though. That's the silver light for Abuelos. They're not going to be rewarded with 15 seconds. It's just going to be 20.
Okay, so Abuelos, chance to still come back. This is going to be a scrappy hill without question. It's our most open hill on Regency, and Rebel doesn't have any control of it so far. And I do want to bring this to the attention of the chat. Look, Abuelos, there's enough time on this current hill. If they are flawless with it, or even just, you know, anywhere near perfect, they can win off of the current hill. So there's a chance Abuelos could still send us to a map 5, but already off to a shaky start. Kardia's, or should be Solar's going to drop. So is Chaoz. That opens up the mid lane. And Rebel, they are steaming through.
Unfortunately, Chavii gets separated from Addvers. So even though this one's coming to a wire, he's trying to do all he can to contest the hill, but they're not letting him. They're backing him down inch by inch. Finally, he's going to survive. Breathe for this moment, but for how long as you're forced to push in? Chaos goes down. Time winding. Rebel is going to close out this series, barring any miracles. Shock grenade to deny entry off of one side. Chavii, he gets his foot in, but he cannot hold on to that position. They get towards the backside. Solars goes out. It's all up to Addvers, and he's going down. Rebel, they have what it takes, but Chaos, he gets the contestation, and another down. That's going to be a double kill. Can he get 3? Yes, he can, but it's an ace that's needed. What?
Another ace? Like, how many aces are we going to get in one series?
Oh my God.
He gets the ace, but steps out of the hill. I got to get a replay of that. I cannot believe how good this series was despite it ending in a 3-1, Jacob. Like, what a performance from both rosters, my guy.
Holy moly donut shop. I cannot believe it was literally an inch that costed Chaos, because I think he was going to get the kill. He got the ace or something close to it. Oh my God.
And we are going to replay that final fight. But I mean, like, that's the scary thing about being 2 points away from a loss, right? You can't step out of the hill. And muscle memory sometimes, takes over. You think the right play is to kind of sidestep, but by doing so, you're giving up the round despite the miraculous kills, the miraculous plays, Jacob. And it's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes, brother. But what a series it was from the perspective of multiple people. We saw Chavii pop off multiple times. We saw, obviously, great plays from Xploidz. Here's that final fight, Jacob. So
Chaoz was on respawn. You can see him in the mini map.
Right.
Great shots by Crack over the top. Gets that last down. He contested it.
So he takes down 1. Takes down 2. And then Crack is the last one he's got to get through. There it is. Yeah. Pops out. No!
It was at 298. He up-A'd the first time to grab the kill. That brought it to 299.
Right.
And then he up-A'd. But at the same time, you almost have to, but he knows he can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah. The thing is, if he doesn't go for the kill, he's now in a 1v2 because Identivez is right there behind Crack. Like, right there behind. So, you're in a 1v2.
If he stays the contest, he doesn't get the chunk. He gets an immense amount of damage, but then there's chain reviving going down. Guys, I'm so shocked. And what shocks me about being shocked is I've been a part of the Gears community since 2006, and I'm still shocked. How?
It happened.
Yeah, I smile from shocked to happy.
Being just 2 points away, like, it's so hard to make a decision like that. Do I hop out? Do I not? Well, you obviously don't. That wasn't something that he consciously said, like, I'm going to hop out and maybe give a point away. It's still 1v2 that he has to win after that. It's still 1v2. And even then, I'm not confident. Let's say 3 seconds remaining. It brings it to 299. Like, I'm not confident. I'm confident he gets the chunk. But I'm not confident he gets to kill on Identivez, who is right there behind. I think Identivez would have had the advantage and gets the chunk on him, and the round still would have ended. Even if he gets the kills there,
it's hard. It's still
hard 2 points away. Still 2 points away. You got to hold on tight. It's not going to be easy from that point forward. But hell of an effort. We'll give him that at least.
Yeah, and it's just kind of hard to say what to do in that situation as well, because how often do players practice and contest the hill with 2 seconds? The up A probably didn't even know he left the hill, or at least in his head in that moment, or that it would allow them to collect this second. But in the back of my head, I'm like, if he would have just contested the hill, played ring around the rosy, he got 2 elims. His teammates were fresh off of respawn, but he just tried to win the game himself.
Well, he had to. At that point, he really had to. He's got to make some plays, and like you said, he put up one heck of an effort. But it is what it is. Abuelos, I think, played this series quite well, especially on Harbor. That's going to be a map that is going to be scary for any roster to play against them. But Rebel gets a much-needed victory with the new addition of Kardia. Hopefully that's going to put some wind in their sails to continue forward, especially into tomorrow. But great series overall. I'm impressed from multiple regards from so many different players and big plays as a whole. But first series is down, Rebel. You take the victory. Good on you. Now coming up next is going to be Queso versus Fury 1. Another impactful matchup that's going to carry a lot of weight. We'll break that down and more when we come back. Queso, Fury 1 coming up after the break.